So is euphonia a digital or analog mixer? Euphonia is a digital mixer with an analog Rupet Neve transformer on the output stage. If you're familiar with music production, Rupet Neve is known for mixing desks and analog circuitry used in world-class professional recording studios. The Neve transformer in euphonia adds a compression and harmonic character to the sound when you drive the audio into the sweet spot, and you can see exactly when it does in the meter on the display. See this area right here where there's white and red? That would be the sweet spot. Euphonia has ESS Technology, analog to digital and digital to analog 32-bit converters, along with a 64-bit floating point DSP. Say that 3 times as fast. It's virtually impossible to distort, and you can get the cleanest and most accurate sound before it even hits the Neve transformer. I know we're all taught to never set your gain into the red, which is a great general practice for most DJ gear. But when you crank the euphonia, I'm going to turn up my trim, bring up all my EQ. There's plenty of headroom to keep you from clipping, but also brings you into the sweet spot into the Neve transformer. While I'm not suggesting to crank it this hard with the EQ all maxed out, I dare to say euphonia does actually sound better when you play it into the red, right when the transformer is actually working it. So before I keep going, I want to make this point comparing other DJ gear's sound quality. ESS Technology 32-bit converters are on other Pioneer DJ devices. It's on the DJM V10, DJM S11, DJM A9, and even the OPUS-QUAD. Now, I know some of you might already know this, but many people don't. Sound quality isn't just the frequency response and character of the sound, or the neutrality of the sound, but it's also the dynamic range. All 5 of these devices, including the euphonia, will give you great signal to noise ratio and even high headroom. This is why you can crank it and not clip, but also why you don't hear hissing noise if you play it really quiet. The real difference between each one of those devices is the voicing of their character. On the DJM A9 and OPUS-QUAD, they have a more neutral and accurate voicing and very tight transients. You can hear exactly what's going on in the sound. If there's a slight offset to your beat match, you can hear the tiniest detail of it, like when you hear 2 kick drums that are just slightly offset. With the A9 and the OPUS-QUAD, when you're mixing song to song, especially if you're a producer, the audience will experience the details you hear in the studio, granted that you're playing on a high-end sound system. On the V10, it's slightly different by slightly extending the transients of the signal. You need the signal glued together, which creates the warm sound of the V10 and why it sounds smoother with slight offsets. Now, a fun fact. The DJM S11, which is a Serato battle mixer, has a voicing closer to the V10. So, finally getting to my long-winded point. Euphonia uses an actual analog circuit, the Neve transformer, that compresses and saturates the sound beyond a certain volume level. So up to a certain volume level, right before the marking of the sweet spot, it sounds just like the A9. It's that accurate. When you push it, a satisfying amount of compression and distortion, the good kind, gets applied to the sound, giving it that analog character. So despite being a digital mixer, it results in a rich analog sound because it's using an actual analog circuit on the output stage. You can add character to a single song by cranking it into the sweet spot or even into the red. Or you can make your blend sound good and glued together when 2 or more tracks are overlapping. The EQ is here if you wish to do performative EQ mixing, but one of the best ways to appreciate the Neve transformer is to first try it without using EQ. It's kind of like a bowl of pho. Hear me out. With a bowl of pho, not DJ pho, you really don't appreciate the taste of the broth unless you try it first without the lime juice, hoisin sauce, or sriracha. If you've never used a rotary mixer before, experiment mixing on this without the EQ first.